decentralized social media and everything about Orbis. We're honored to have Leon, the core member of Orbis, as our guest tonight. We will have a free Q&A session before the end of the event. An audience who raised 3 quality questions will be rewarded 1 DKP for each. Finally, there will be a quiz board giving out 2 questions, and the first 10 correct answers will be awarded 1 DKP3 each. In order to make sure the AMA goes smoothly and efficiently, you can send your questions in the chat channel, and we will answer them for you later. And we will award 3 members DKP4.
好的，就是为了确保 AMA 的话，能够顺利的进行，大家有问题可以把问题打在 chat 频道里面，稍后的话我们会请嘉宾为大家解答。从这其中的话，我们会抽3个小伙伴来奖励 DKP4 哈。那么现在的话，我们就正式开始我们的活动。接下来的话，我们有请Leon 来给大家做一个简单的自我介绍。
Alright, hi Leon, super excited to have you here. So before we start the MA, could you introduce yourself to the Square community?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Alright, good evening everyone, and GDM, my name is Leon. I am part of the core team at Orbis.club. I have been in crypto/Web3 since late 2020. I bought my first Ethereum in late 2020 and kind of going down the crypto Twitter rabbit hole since and learning more about decentralized technologies, what are the different types of blockchain, what are the different types of use cases, and eventually, I wanted to learn more about what it means to have my own, digital identity, what it means to decentralize identity, and, what can we potentially do from a blockchain perspective. And my curiosity eventually led me to learn about ceramic and ceramic technologies. And one day, Batiste, who's the founder of Orbis, actually invited me to the platform to try out Orbis. I was actually the 8th member of the platform. We've been live since late 2021, December 2021, and I've been going down the Orbis rabbit hole ever since. That's my journey.
Thank you. 那么我是从2020年开始了解加密还有 Web3 领域的。然后，从2021年12月份的时候 ，Orbis 的创始人 Baptiste 发表了一篇关于去中心化身份和 Ceramic 的文章，让我发现了 Orbis。然后之后我就一直在了解去中心化技术，然后我们的产品也是在2021年的12月份的时候开始研发的。然后我也是第8位加入 Orbis 的成员，然后就一直到现在。
好的，那么我们现在的话，请Leon 来，能帮我们简单的介绍一下 Orbis 这个产品吗？你们是如何定义自己的产品呢？
So Leon, would you briefly introduce Orbis and how you define it?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So very brief intro. Essentially, the objective and the vision behind Orbis is, we want to build the next generation of, social media, social network, essentially in a decentralized format for communities, DAOs, organizations alike, right? So that's kind of like our, North Star, what kind of guides us. And, like I mentioned, Orbis is a decentralized social application. It's built on Ceramic and Arweave technologies infrastructure. We highly and very much believe that, users, especially in this day and age, should own their data, right? What they create on social networks. And, they should not be tied into any sort of specific constriction or any sort of specific platform and, access mechanism. So, with that vision in mind, we, users on Orbis kind of get to, own their data. They can take it with them wherever they go. And essentially, since Orbis is published on Ceramic, they get to visualize, and they can take that with them, as if they want to ever leave Orbis and so forth. So, and one of the great things is being decentralized. Orbis is eventually optimized to allow communities to kind of build their platform, their presence in a very Web3 format, right? So that way we kind of avoid that one central failure, similar to what we see technologies essentially do today, leveraging like Discord or Twitter and so forth. So we really want to kind of focus on that Web3 ethos, be decentralized, and that's what Orbis is here to do.
Thank you. 那么 Orbis 是一个基于 Ceramic 和 Arweave 的去中心化社交应用。我们相信用户应该拥有他们在社交网络上创建的数据，而不是被锁定在一个特定的界面上才能访问这些数据。然后，因为 Orbis 上每个帖子都是在 Ceramic 上发布的，用户可以拥有他们所创造的所有内容，并将其可视化，把这些内容带到他们想要的任何地方。然后 Orbis 也是去中心化的，所以它非常适合用于建立社区，因为你不希望你的社区只是单一的存在于 Discord 或 Twitter 上面。然后 Orbis 在群组方面，它是代币准入型社群，社群里的频道和角色都可以自定义准入权限。然后它目前支持以太坊主网和 Polygon。然后在加密通讯方面，它是基于 Lit Protocol 构建的。在所有的 ETS 地址之间都是加密的去中心化的信息传输，然后也不需要手续费。然后链上整合部分是包括链接钱包、绑定 NFT 头像，展示 ENS 域名、让历史证明算法整合以及各种链上的行为。目前他们还开放了安卓和 iOS 应用端的测试，首次把 Ceramic 和移动应用程式相结合。
好的，那我们第二个问题是，目前 Orbis 的项目的进展如何呢？未来有什么样的规划和愿景啊？
Our second question is, what's the current project progress, future planning, and vision of Orbis?
Yeah, so we are very early in our journey. As I mentioned, we initially went live on late December 2021. And currently the team, including myself, is 3 members. So we have Batiste, who is kind of like our founder. He's also the core developer. And then I basically manage the business development queries on my end for the team. And then we actually just onboarded our community manager, Adam, onto the platform as well. So we are a relatively small team. We're a young team as well in that regard. And in regards to the current progress for the project, we're focusing on getting our mobile app out there for both iOS and Android. And actually, this past week, we just went live with our open beta. So if you were to actually go to Orbis.club and you sign in, there is a mobile app section on the right where if you have an iOS application or Android phone, you can basically download and you can now experience Orbis with mobile. So that's kind of been like our main focus so far. But once we get through the mobile application and make the mobile application better, definitely focusing on that user experience and kind of like the use cases for a user. We really want to kind of start onboarding, DAOs and so forth, which is exactly why we're here today, talking to the DAO Square community. We want to hear from the community members here, how a DAO works, right? What are those intricacies? How about what is like the BAU like for a community member, and how those activities can essentially translate, using a decentralized platform like Orbis, right, versus a centralized solution that's available today, like Discord or Twitter, etc. And once we continue to kind of get that feedback, we want to further integrate into on-chain activity. I'm not sure if you're sharing the slide yet, but we are going to be like today we have it integrated where you connect with your wallet. There's no username password, right? You connect with your MetaMask wallet or whatever your primary wallet is, and it's all on chain, right? So and we want to continue to further integrate into on-chain activity, allow DAO members to experience Web3 native social solutions for their day-to-day BAU. And once that is completed, the long-term solution is really to kind of onboard the next generation of people to Web3, right? And we really do believe Orbis is kind of leading towards that goal.
Thank you。那么我们的团队目前有3名核心成员，Baptist 是我们的创始人，然后我们最近还有Adam 加入作为我们的社区主管。然后我们目前的重点是发布我们的移动端应用程式，现在已经上线了，就是在安卓和 iOS 端都可以开始进行测试。然后我们的目标也是不断的改进我们的产品。然后我们短期的目标是让更多的DAO来使用 Orbis， 所以说我们也来到了DAO Square， 希望可以和大家进行交流。然后我们正在进一步把所有东西都整合到链上。然后我们希望可以让DAO成员在日常工作中就能体验 Web3 原生社交的解决方案。然后我们的长期计划是让数以亿计的人加入 Web3。然后这些都可以在我们有一张幻灯片上展示出来。
好，非常好。幻灯片的话已经发在这个 Chat 这个频道里了，大家有兴趣的话可以往上翻一下看一下。那么我们第3个问题是，相对于市场上跟 Orbis 同类的产品有哪些呢？ Orbis 的优势是在哪里呢？
Our third question is, are there any similar products in the market? And what are the advantages of Orbis compared to them?
Yeah, that's actually a really great question. I would say if community members are familiar, Lens Protocol, Lens.dev by Polygon would be essentially a similar product to Orbis in terms of like what they're trying to accomplish, their overall vision. But I would say after that, that's essentially where things kind of start to differ with Lens.dev and Orbis.club. Like Lens essentially developed their project very much the protocol-based smart contracts on Polygon. So every interaction, right, would essentially require a user to kind of sign a transaction, which would trigger the block, some sort of transaction on the blockchain and so forth, right? Even if the transaction itself is essentially very cheap. Now, think about it. I mean, for me, I post like every day on Twitter, on Orbis for every transaction, for every post. I can't imagine myself posting and signing a transaction every single time. So that user experience is what we felt was very cumbersome from a user. So we kind of, decided not to go down that route. And, we really wanted to think about the user in mind, the user experience from a post perspective. Like today on Twitter, the only thing you do is just do one click and your posts are done, right? So we want to make it as simple and easy as possible. And I would say that's like the main difference between what Lens.dev is trying to do versus Orbis. And again, right, essentially kind of going back to how the content is also interacted on the back end as well, where, Orbis uses Ceramic, which essentially allow us to kind of publish all our content off chain from a user and kind of, manage it much better in a decentralized format. And then, we also kind of see a lot of other centralized competitors as well that kind of market themselves as decentralized alternatives to social media, social networking. But if you kind of take a look at their white paper and kind of take a look at their underlying technologies, you can see that they're building on like AWS or some sort of centralized solution. So I don't want to say any names, but we do see a lot of competitors out there. But from our perspective, we are, staying true to the ethos of being decentralized, right? You own your data, and we believe that's going to truly differentiate Orbis moving forward.
Thank you. 我们认为 Lens Protocol 可能是一个比较类似的产品和愿景，但是他们所使用的方法是不同的，因为他们在 Polygon 上设计了一个基于智能合约的协议，所以每次互动都需要用户与合约交互才能触发区块链交易。尽管它在 Polygon 上很便宜，但是我们不想制造那种每次都必须处理的用户摩擦，因为比如说像我的话，每天都要发送推特，如果每条推文都要产生合约交互的话，就会极大的降低用户体验。所以这就是为什么 Orbis 使用 Ceramic， 它允许我们在链外也可以发布用户内容。然后这意味着，虽然你无法访问链上的数据，但是用户可以通过 IPFS 或者 Arweave 来访问，以满足他们的数据需求。然后用户体验也是 Orbis 一直非常看重的一点。然后我们也看到了很多中心化的，那些建立在中心化服务器上，比如 AWS 上的竞品，然后他们包装成非中心化的解决方案来进行推广。但我们并不认为这些是真正的 Web3 技术。
OK， 那当初是为什么选在 Ceramic 上做 Orbis 这个产品呢？ Orbis 是如何跟 Ceramic 进行结合的呀？
So why did Orbis choose Ceramic as the infrastructure? And please share some information about how Orbis use it.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think before we kind of talk about like why we chose Ceramic and so forth, we kind of need to kind of step back and kind of see what's the native blockchain capabilities, what's there today, and essentially, when we kind of take a look at the Ethereum ecosystem or even Polygon, these are great ecosystems, but the way, and they're very decentralized in nature. But the way that they were built, they were great for financial applications, for like financial use cases, but not essentially for social application, for social use cases, which require like high throughput, high performances, and so forth. So that's probably like the main reason. We leverage Ceramic to kind of build the Orbis platform, and like Ceramic was designed mainly for social network ecosystems in mind. Like, kind of like how there's Ethereum and every other blockchain for like very specific use cases. Ceramic was specifically built for social applications in mind. So that's kind of like the number one reason. And also, right, kind of going back to how we discussed in the previous session about a question about how Ceramic is, leveraging IPFS and Arweave, and we have dedicated use cases for hosting data and so forth, for social specific use cases for how content needs to be handled for users. Again, right, kind of going back, this is why we leverage in Ceramic, right? Like, not only is the infrastructure at the top layer, but the base layers all the way down is decentralized, right? Beginning with IPFS and Arweave as well. And then finally, and this is probably like the most interesting one, is this concept of the Decentralized Id, which is DID. So this concept is native to Ceramic and it's still fairly early in the journey, but Orbis leverages DIDs to essentially every time we onboard a new user. And this is really powerful because you can kind of think of the concept of kind of like how we have multi-wallet strategy today. Like, I don't know about everyone here, but I have like, 4, 5, 6 different wallets. And, each wallet essentially leveraging the DID concept will allow you to kind of connect them all together to your DID, right? If you choose to. So that concept of a decentralized identity and kind of managing your decentralized identity as we move into Web3 becomes even more and more important. And Ceramic essentially allows you to do this in a very programmatic fashion, right? So that would say that is one of the also very primary reasons why we decided to choose ceramic as our infrastructure.
Thank you. 那么，直到最近呢，建立去中心化应用程序的唯一选择是将其建立在区块链之上，比如说以太坊或者 Polygon 上。那么，区块链对于金融应用来说可能是非常好的选择，但对于需要高性能的社交应用来说却不是。Ceramic 是一种基于 IPFS 的新型去中心化网络，专门用于托管数据。从这个意义上来说，它可以比区块链的性能高得多，因为一切都被优化为创建和托管数据，让它在比区块链构建的社交应用上的性能要好很多。就像我们之前提到的，我们用 Ceramic 很大程度上是因为它可以让我们的用户通过 IPFS 和 Arweave 访问数据。然后比较有趣的一点是，它还有去中心化身份这个概念，也就是 Did。这是非常强大的。你可以将你的去中心化身份连接到多个链上的多个钱包上。
好的。那第五个问题是，你觉得 Ceramic 的优势是什么？不足是什么呢？
Fifth question is, what do you think are the advantages of ceramic and what are the disadvantages?
That's also a really good question as well. Kind of going back, right? Ceramic is specifically designed for social networking, social application types use cases in mind. So, when you kind of take a look at it from that lens, what we have experienced so far is, it's highly efficient. And essentially no transaction fees. Like today, if you were to log into Orbis, for example, after the initial sign-in transactions, there are no transactions for every time you would share, you would post something, or you would edit your profile, or anytime you join a group and so forth, right? So in that sense, it's highly advantaged and great user experience for a user, right? And then again, going back to the final point in the previous question around the decentralized identity and how you can connect multiple wallets, right? And this is really powerful as Ceramic onboards and integrates with additional chains as well, right? Think about it, where like, let's say you have a wallet in Ethereum, but you also have a wallet in, Solana, for example, right? And you can essentially integrate both these wallets together, across chains, and you can have one user that's native to Solana and another user, native to EVM compatible chains, kind of be able to essentially talk to one another, and that is a huge advantage, and something that we don't see that can be done anywhere else today. And finally, from an advantage perspective, I would say it's highly simple to be able to run your own node. At least that's the feedback I have heard so far. So those are what I would consider the main advantages. In terms of the disadvantages, I would say that it is still fairly new. Everything is new. There are still a lot of issues and things, and we are constantly working with the Ceramic team. Their core team has also been like very helpful and been working with Batiste and I to kind of triage issues and things. But a lot of things that we're doing is still fairly new, right? So when Orbis builds something, like we can't base our work on other people's discoveries. And a great example of this is like this mobile application, the iOS deployment and Android deployment that we released last week. There's nothing like this done on Ceramic yet. So we natively essentially built this. This is the first implementation of Ceramic on mobile. So it took a lot to kind of get there. So essentially, and we look to kind of also provide this feedback back, but because it's so new and so early in the journey, there are no other use cases like this that we can kind of rely off of. And then the second thing is essentially there isn't any public and decentralized indexing available for Ceramic yet. graph and stuff. That is something that we're working through on this, but essentially, as ceramic grows, right, we do see more further essential use cases and capabilities being open, but as of right now, it's still very limited in nature.
Thank you. 那么我们认为 Ceramic 的优点在于它首先它很高效，然后它没有交易费用，然后其次它有去中心化的 ID 概念，可以让你与不同的钱包连接。比如说，我们可以让用 Solana 钱包加入 Orbis 的用户和用以太坊钱包加入的用户进行交谈。然后它也是去中心化的，方便运行你自己的节点。我们认为 Ceramic 的劣势是它依然很新，所以说我们的工作并不能完全依赖于其他人的发现。比如说我们最近在开发的移动应用城市就是一个很好的例子，我们不得不从头开始建立很多东西。还有一个问题就是现在 Ceramic 还没有任何公开的分散的像区块链里的那种索引技术，不过 Graph 正在研究这个问题。
好的，感谢。那么第6个问题是，目前 Orbis 有哪些合作伙伴或者社区呢？
Sixth question is, does Orbis has any partners or communities currently?
Yeah, so we are still very early in our journey, right? We just completed, like our 3rd month. One of our first partners are Dowsker, right? So, that's why we're here to talk to this amazing community, to get to know the members here and understand, how you guys work every day. Some other partners that we have that we're working through at Orbis is HumanDAO. So, we're also partnered with HumanDAO to kind of understand their use cases, kind of working through the whole scholar/applicant process, right, and how they work day to day. We also have some NFT communities on Orbis as well, and we also have some Web3 developer community on Orbis as well, but we are still very young. And Dowsker is one of our first partners, and we're looking to partner with more other DAOs as we kind of iterate through the feedback and make the product better for everyone here.
Thank you. 我们现在目前还处于早期阶段，那么 DAOsquare 也是我们最早的合作伙伴之一，这也就是为什么我们今天来到了这里。然后同时我们也和 HumanDAO 有合作，我们有一些 NFT 社群。然后我们也非常希望和更多的DAO合作，这样我们就可以通过他们的反馈意见，不断进行迭代，来让我们的产品更好的为DAO成员服务。
好的，第7个问题是，未来的话 Orbis 有什么市场推广计划吗？ Hello， 可以听到吗？
I think we lost Harbor.
OK，联系稍等一下哈，大家联系一下。大家稍微等一下哈。那么我先来帮 Harper 来问一下这个问题，然后同时我们也等 Harper 上线。So then the 7th question is, what are the future marketing plans of Orbis?
So our current focus right now is really focusing on getting the mobile application out there, and making sure it's fully developed and deployed with all the different capabilities and features that Orbis Desktop has today. So once that is done, we will focus aggressively on marketing plans, and partner with other partners here in Web3, other DAOs and so forth, But right now, our main priority has been getting the product out there, right? Making sure the product is working. If there's any issues and feedback, right? Iterate through those features and feedback and so forth. And once that's done, we will work to kind of a specific marketing plan for DAOs and other communities.
OK
Thank you. Can you hear us now?
OK， 非
Yes.
常好。
OK。那么我们未来的市场推广计划是，其实我们暂时还没有很明确的计划，因为我们现在的重点是要把我们的移动应用程式完全的部署，然后在这之后我们会考虑开始推广。现在我们的重点就是要建立最好的产品，确保我们为 Web3 社区解决真正的问题。
OK， 那第8个问题是，Orbis 目前有融资计划吗？
So do you have a plan of funding raise?
Yes, we are currently talking to many investors globally. So Batista has been in the process of doing that, and I have also have had conversations with many interested parties. And so yes, short answer is yes. We are in the process of talking with investors.
Thank you. 是的，我们现在有融资计划，我们现在正在和许多投资者交谈。
OK， 那未来的话，有没有发行 token 的计划呢？对早期的支持者和使用者有没有空投计划呢？
So our last question is, does Orbis have a token or plan to issue a token? And will there be an airdrop plan for early supporters and users?
So this seems to be the question of the hour. I don't want to say we haven't thought about it. The core team has thought about it for sure. But like right now, our focus has really been around building a great product and making sure every user on Orbis gets to experience Web3 and kind of experience all the features and capabilities. So I will say, the more you're active on Orbis, the better. But right now, we don't have necessarily any plan in place to, launch a token or anything. We've mainly been focusing on building a great product.
Thank you. 那么我们也有考虑过这个问题，不过我们目前来说并没有这样的计划，因为我们的重点还是专注于构建一个伟大的产品。
OK， 那大家有对 Orbis 产品的就如果说使用这个产品的过程当中，在体验的时候，有什么问题，那可以加入 DAO Square 的群组，在 feedback 这个频道中留言。我们现在还有几个小的问题，就是想要再跟Leon 来讨论一下。第一个问题，那就是未来的话就是能不能把 Twitter 上的这个内容一键把这个 Orbis 上的内容一键分享到 Twitter 上去呢？
So we still have few suggestions from DAO Square. And the first is that we would like to know if it is possible to share the posts on Orbis to Twitter with one click in the future.
Yeah, and actually, that's that's good feedback. And really trying to stay true to like our ethos and our objective. We really try not to rely heavily on centralized services such as Twitter. It's not that we can't do it; like we definitely could. But it is a great feature that we can potentially look to integrate in the future. But I will say that it's something that we haven't too much been focused on because we wanted to kind of stay true to the decentralized objective of what Orbis is trying to do. But great feedback. Thank you.
我们考虑过，可以加入这样的功能，但是我们目前还是希望我们的产品可以尽量减少中心化的服务。所以说我们应该暂时不会加入这个功能。
OK， 那么关于 Orbis 的这个治理方面的话，未来有考虑吗
？So would there be any governance feature in Orbis?
Yes. This is definitely something very important and a high priority for us on our roadmap. Kind of going back to our overall objective of trying to decentralize social network, our primary focus right now is onboarding DAOs. And we understand that as a DAO, especially for, DAO Square, you guys have governance processes in place and so forth, so we do want to further integrate those types of governance types of services. We're on chain now. So we're looking into integrating Snapshot, for example, and if we can't integrate Snapshot, we will be building our own type of solution. But it looks like as of our last conversation internally within the team, this is going to be the next immediate feature that Orbis will be looking to implement from a governance perspective.
Thank you. 那么治理功能是我们非常看重的一点，然后我们最近也在和团队讨论应该如何来增加这个治理功能。然后我们讨论下来的结果是，我们会使用 Snapshot，或者是通过自己的投票机制。
OK， 那有考虑做任务系统这一块吗
？Would there be any task feature?
Yeah, no, this is a great suggestion as well. And I think this could definitely be something that we could look to implement, working with other decentralized types of tools out there. So it would be great if, we can get this type of feedback from DAO Square, right? Like what the community members use today, because we truly do want Orbis to kind of, be that platform where, you go to do your governance voting, you get to do your DAO tasks and all that within Orbis, right? Kind of provide that one service for all. So great suggestion as well.
Thank you. 那么我们也在考虑添加这个任务功能，然后我们也希望可以用到一些去中心化的工具。我们也希望了解到 DAO Square 是如何运用这些工具的。然后我们也会在之后，我们也会在之后会考虑加入这样的任务工具，然后包括任务界面。
好的，那还是欢迎社区中的小伙伴可以去自己体验一下 Orbis 这个产品。那如果说在过程中遇到什么问题，或者说有什么建议的话，想要反馈，可以加入 DAO Square 的群组，在 Feedback 频道中留言。我们接下来的话就进入到我们自由问答的环节，来让我们看一下社区中大家有什么样的一些问题。我来挑几个就是刚才可能嘉宾没有提到的一些问题哈。
So we welcome DAO Square members can submit more suggestions in the feedback channel of DAO Square Orbis group, and we will enter the community Q&A session now. Feel free to bring up any questions.
第一个问题是，我不太确定这个产品就是人有没有听说过？社区中的有一个小伙伴，他有问到有一个产品叫 Milestone， 这个产品，请问就是 Learn 是如何看待这个项目的呢？如何看待Mastodon 这个支持 AR 和 IPFS 存储和 MetaMask 登录的可能性？哎，对燕你可以再确认一下，是要问这个问题吗
？Mastodon 的问题吗？
对你，那你先问一下 Learn 他是否了解 Mastodon 这个产品，然后他如何看待这个产品的。
So Leon, do you know about Mastodon?
Mastodon, right? I believe it's a federated platform. Yeah, I haven't used it personally as a user, but I have seen the platform. It's essentially a microblogging platform, and it has a degree of decentralized in place in which it leverages like unique server type of technologies. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I know that it is federated in nature versus like Orbis, we obviously leverage ceramic capabilities and Arweave and IPFS.
Yes, and what do you think about they're supporting AR, IPFS storage, and MetaMask logins?
I'm sorry, is the question like what Orbis supporting or
No. Mastodon, yeah.
I mean, I think if they can do it that successfully in a decentralized format, then that's great. But it's easier said than done. So I had to see how more the platform works to kind of truly understand more. I'm fairly new to Mastodon, so I'm not essentially sure. I can look into it.
All right, thank you. 那么他听说过这个软件，但是他没有用过，所以说他对他了解就是，他注意到它有一些去中心化的功能，然后以及它的一些特征，但是总的来说就是他也不是很了解。
OK，那么我看另外一个小伙伴有问到说，想问一下 Orbis，就是正式的版本什么时候会发布呢
？So when will Orbis launch like their app officially?
Actually, yeah. So we just launched early beta last Thursday. So we do want to kind of continue to get some feedback. It's still very early days. But if all goes well, I would say within the next couple of weeks into the months. But I know there are some underlying infrastructure ceramics making underlying infrastructure upgrades on there, and so we don't necessarily know how the mobile application will perform. So we are kind of keen and cautious of that. But as long as we continue to get feedback and also on our end internally, we kind of see everything is moving smoothly. We don't see any issues happening. But right now, we're very much focused on getting that feedback back. So if you are on Orbis, right, we highly encourage you to try out the mobile application, right, whether you're on iOS or Android, and please give us feedback, right, because we need that to kind of make the mobile application better.
Thank you. 那么 Orbis 其实在上周四就已经发布了他们的测试版本，就iOS 和安卓的用户都可以下载到，然后 iOS 应该是要通过 TestFlight 下载吧。然后Orbis 就希望大家去使用他们的软件， 然后给他们提出反馈，他们也在不断的更新，然后不断的添加新的功能。
非常感谢，给我们这么详细的解答。那我们也相信 Orbis 产品后面会有巨大的潜力，能够为 Web3 不断的创造价值。后续也非常欢迎 DAO的社区成员能够参与 Orbis 的产品测试。Orbis 会为那些在产品中提出反馈意见的成员提供 POP 的奖励。我们有请 Heavy 把这个领取 POP 的这个规则发在 POP Claim 这个频道，大家可以详细的去查看一下。欢迎在体验这个 Orbis 的过程当中，然后提出你宝贵的这个反馈意见，并且去领取你的 POP 奖励。然后看一下社区还有没有其他的问题哈。
So Orbis will reward DAO Square members with pods who engage on Orbis and leave high-level feedback on features in a DAO Square feedback channel.
大家都可以去 POP Claim 这个频道去看一下。然后我看了一下这个频道中应该没有什么问题了哈。然后那我们接下来的话就进行下一个环节。下一个环节的话就是进行这个有奖的机器人问答的这个环节。那么我们将在8点50分在社区中发第一道题目，然后大家就根据这个题目去选择正确的答案。你只需要跟这个机器人进行交互，选择正确的选项就可以了，非常的简单哈。同时这个过程这个过程当中，如果说大家有什么问题，欢迎把你的问题打在频道里面，然后我们可以让嘉宾来为大家解答一下哈。
We'll have a quiz book coming.
还有1分钟哈。
Leon, would you like to add something?
It's because we like DAO Square community so much. I did want to add that, at Orbis, we have our native NFT collection called Web3 Family. And we are actually in the process of deploying that NFT collection as well in parallel. So we would love to kind of reward some, whitelist opportunities for the DAO Square community members as part of that collection. So again, right, kind of, if we see very active members of DAO Square on Orbis, we would love to kind of whitelist those wallets. And essentially, at a high level, this is our Genesis collection on Orbis. And, if you have this, it will kind of open up more opportunities for more Orbis giveaways. So that is the underlying utility. But I just want to kind of get that out there, some alpha for the community.
Thank you. 那么 Orbis 也想为那些积极参与他们的产品测试以及非常活跃的用户奖励NFT。
那好的，那非常好，大家可以有兴趣去体验一下，然后可以去看看有没有什么 bug 呀，有没有什么好的体验呀，有没有什么好的建议呀，都可以去参与一下，然后可以领这个 NFT 的奖励哦。然后我们在8点53分吧，再隔1分钟，然后我们进行第2道题的这个问答环节。看来大家今天
Chris will give the second question at 8:53.
看来大家今天都挺认真的，第1道题都答对了哈。然后我们8点53分进行第2道题。 对，同时的话就是想跟大家，然后再说一下我们的 DKP。DKP 的话是 DAO Square 对 Web3时代 DAO 的这种组织的一种思考的结果。那DKP 的话，其实是一种无需许可的社区贡献协议，任何人都可以通过你对社区、你对DAO组织的贡献来获得相应的这个社区权利。像 DAO Square 目前的话，我们有 DKP1、DKP2、DKP3、DKP4，那目前这4个是比较常用的。DKP1 的话就是进行捐赠可以获得 DKP1，DKP2 你把 Rise 质押在DKP Land 里面可以获得 DKP2，那么 DKP3 的话是你参与社区的活动都可以获得这个 DKP3。DKP4 的话是它是可以去，它是就是你参与DAO Square 的一些活动获得的 DKP4 可以在小酒馆里面去兑换 Rise， 一个 DKP4 可以去兑换一个 Rise。那 DKP1、DKP2、DKP3 都是有非常重要的作用，可以未来的话去参与 DAO Square 的这个社区额度的一些分配哈。所以说就是我们这2次的互动，包括说我们的提问给到大家的都是我们 DKP 的一些奖励我还给大家再说一下这个如果说你想拿到 DKP 怎么去领到这个 DKP 呢？那你需要去跟这个 DAO Square Bot 进行这个地址的绑定好了这个你的这个地址，到时候机器人是会把这个奖励自动的发送到你的钱包里面哈。我们进行第2道题。
So we'd also like to introduce DKP to the community and our audience. So DKP is our community contribution protocol to reward members who contribute to the community. And members can get the corresponding rights and interests, including benefits and governance rights. And for detailed rules, you can check our official document.
OK， 大家直接跟机器人互动，直接去进行交互，选择正确的答案就可以了。OK， 那第2道问答的题目也结束了，非常感谢大家今天的这个参与，也非常感谢大家今天的认真的聆听，也非常感谢我们的嘉宾 Leon 来给我们这么详细的解答。相信的话Orbis 之后会做得越来越好，非常感谢大家今天对我们的这个支持。那我们今天的这个 AMA 的活动就到这里结束了非常感谢大家。
This is the end of the AMA. If you want to learn more about Orbis, you can check it out at orbis.club and follow at Orbis Club on Twitter. Thanks everybody for listening. Thank you for your time, Leon. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.